Hello everyone, and welcome to another Pyro Gaming video. Back in Season 13, I made videos showing my favorite builds and loadouts for soloing all three dungeons in Destiny 2, Shattered Throne, Pit of Heresy, and Prophecy. While the strategies I talk about in those videos still work today, there are a few new weapons and mods available this season that would work very well, and since it's been a few months since I made those videos, or any videos for that matter, I figured it'd be a good time to revisit each one of those dungeons here in Season 15 with updated gear, starting with the Shattered Throne. But first, back in July, I was contacted by a company called Woka, W-O-K-A. I will link it down below. They asked me if I wanted to review one of their new adjustable height desks, and I said sure, why not? I went ahead and chose the walnut top with the white legs down below. I want you guys to hear this. That is solid wood. That is solid steel, man. This thing is built very, very well. As I said, it is adjustable height. You can see that you have a meter right there that shows you exactly how high your desk is. And let me ask you guys something. If you put all of your gaming equipment, you put your PC on this, your monitors, all that stuff, your biggest concern's got to be the stability, right? I can shake this thing so violently, and look how little it moves. This thing is built very sturdy. It's got a lot of weight to it. It is a very well-made desk. The only reason that I don't have my gaming setup on it is because I kind of built a desk into the wall in my office, and it ain't going nowhere. So I use this one for little stuff like the iPad that you see here. I write my scripts here and everything. Offer code PYRO will knock $100 off of your order over at Woka. If you want to check them out, I will link a description below. For the Labyrinth, I'm using a kinetic bow, a null composure fusion rifle, and a sleeper simulant just because that's what my hunter had on them when I loaded into the game this morning. For armor mods, I am using Charged with Light mods, Taking Charge, Protective Light, as well as Stacks on Stacks. My remaining mods are all to grant ammo bonuses for the weapons I'm using and to increase my overall stats like recovery and intellect and so on. My artifact isn't high enough level yet this season, but if you have particle deconstruction unlocked, it's one of the best mod/weapon combos currently in the game with fusion rifles. My hunter will have Golden Gun Nighthawk for the entirety of this run. I will not be swapping subclasses or exotic armor. Titans, I recommend using Code of the Missile with Cuirass of a Falling Star, and Warlocks, I'd say Geomag's Chaos Reach is your best bet. The reason I'm recommending offensive supers instead of things like Well and Bubble is because I feel like those give you a false sense of security, while offensive supers help to reduce the amount of time you have to spend in boss fights. The mechanics of this first encounter are pretty simple. There are 8 not-so-tough bosses in this area that when killed show you a symbol that you'll need to go find for the next boss's location. Each boss will have acolytes you'll have to deal with that spawn eyes if you don't kill them quick enough, and some of the bosses will have Arc, Solar, and Void elemental shields, so keep that in mind when choosing your loadouts. These symbols are random except for the last one. The final boss will always spawn at the Big Bird Diving Down location, and once that boss is killed, a giant hole will open up for you to drop down into for the next encounter. It's important to remember here that there is no timer, so take all the time you need to play it safe. For the Descent, I keep the same loadout as before, except I switch the Null Composure out for an Adored Sniper so that I can play distance. The Descent encounter consists of 3 areas. The outside area you see me in now, an inside area with Fire Knights and Sniper Vandals, and the Ogre platforming section. It's important to remember that all 3 of these areas count as the checkpoint, meaning if you die anywhere in these 3 rooms, you're getting sent all the way back to the beginning of the encounter. The outside area is pretty straightforward. Pick off snipers and minotaurs from a distance and keep pushing towards the door. A boss similar to the opening encounter bosses will be at the entrance to the sniper hallway whenever you get up to the top of this little platforming section. Once inside, same as before, play distance. Use long-range weapons to take out snipers and knights without getting close enough to trigger their aggro, and you should be okay. The Ogre platforming section can be a bit of a pain, but it doesn't have to be. Walk forward just enough to spawn the next Ogre, then backtrack out of their aggro zone to kill them safely from a distance if you're struggling here with getting knocked off by their push attack. Continue to the end of the room to the next checkpoint. After the ogres, you'll have the first Thrallway and some platforming sections that lead to Vorgeth. In the Thrallway room, you can go straight back from the entrance to drop down and collect a bonus chest for a free piece of gear. Take your time here and swap loadouts to what you'll be using for Vorgeth, and go ahead and farm some ammo to make sure that you're full. There isn't much to explain here for the next couple of sections, so I will talk to you guys when we get to Vorgeth. Here is your first real challenge, but to be honest, if you can beat Vorgeth, you can probably beat the rest of this dungeon no problem. The loadout I'm using here is a Fatebringer hand cannon, a Null Composure fusion rifle, and a Corrective Measure machine gun. Don't be deterred by the fact that I'm using 2 Vault of Glass weapons here. They're honestly interchangeable. Fatebringer you should replace with whatever your favorite kinetic add clear weapon is, and Corrective Measure can be replaced by literally any machine gun. The only thing to keep in mind here is that you will need a void weapon for the wizard shields. So let's go ahead and talk fight mechanics. You'll start with 4 groups of enemies in the room that consist of sniper vandals, goblins, a hive wizard mini-boss with a void shield, plus Vorgeth, who has a push attack. Each time you kill one of the 4 mini-boss wizards, they will drop an orb. You need to pick up this orb, but when you do, you will start a 45-second timer that kills you when it hits 0. The only way to avoid the timer running out is to kill the next wizard and collect the next orb to reset the timer back to 45 seconds. You will repeat this until all 4 wizards are dead and you've collected all 4 orbs, and then you will dunk the charges in one of the 4 pillars surrounding Vorgeth to begin his damage phase. More on his damage phase in a second. If you fail to pick up the orbs quick enough after killing the wizard, the orb will despawn and that set of enemies will respawn. Try and avoid this, as it's just an added unnecessary headache for you to deal with. My strategy here is to always try and stay behind cover and carefully peek to pick off low-level adds first, while slowly bringing the wizard's health down, but not just outright killing them. I go in a clockwise motion, starting where you first drop down to the left, then back of the room, then right side of the room, where I end for boss damage. Remember that you aren't on a timer in this encounter until you pick up the first orb after killing the first wizard, so take your time clearing those adds and making sure that you have plenty of ammo and super energy in between damage phases. Once Vorgeth is vulnerable, it's time to pop that offensive super for some quick burst damage, and then fall back to the pillar you dunk the charges on for damage with your special and heavy weapons. The reason I chose a machine gun for this solo is because it's super easy to damage the boss and easily transition to dealing with his Axion darts without wasting a lot of time. You're always on target, you know what I'm saying? I end up 2-phasing him here with Nighthawk, and honestly a 2-phase should be your goal. You don't want to spend more time in here than you need to. Having a Null Composure or Cortesian Coordinate Fusion Rifle with the Particle Deconstruction mod from your artifact will be huge here. Same goes for 1000 Voices too if you have it. Massive DPS. As I said before, if you beat Vorgeth, you've beat the hardest part of this dungeon. Dul Incaru is a bit of a challenge, but in my opinion, she's not as bad as that asshole ogre. For the tower climb, there isn't really much of a strategy. The only thing I'll say is when you get to the Thrallway, and you'll know when you get there, be sure and swap to your Dul Incaru loadout and farm some ammo or finish any catalyst you may need to do while you're there. It's a nice little break, you aren't on any kind of timer, So just take your time, enjoy that section, clear your head, and we'll talk again at the final encounter. Here we are, Dul Incaru. Straight up, dude, Risk Runner is god tier in this fight. It's great for the knights, it's great for the scions, it gives you a shield, and it reloads itself. God tier. As for boss damage, that offensive super we talked about earlier is going to be your best bet. I'm running a Heritage shotgun for extra knight damage, but any kinetic shotgun will work just as good, or that new stasis shotgun, it doesn't matter. Just a shotgun in the kinetic slot. It doesn't have to be a raid one. I also stuck with the machine gun since Dul Incaru doesn't have a ton of health when you have all 3 buffs. If you have a 1000 voices with particle deconstruction, it would be amazing here, honestly. It would just be super, super good. The mechanics of this fight are as follows. You start with 3 knights kneeling in front of the room facing Dul Incaru. Damaging these knights or getting too close to them starts the encounter and spawns a set of scions on both the left and right side of the room. These scions will continuously multiply unless you kill them, so take care of them quick. Dul Incaru also starts damaging you when the encounter starts. Try to get as much damage to the knights as you can before the scions spawn, but be sure not to just outright kill them until you kill off all the little scions. Once the knights get down to about 1/5 of their health remaining, they will lose their helmets and become much faster and much more aggressive, so be mindful of that as well. At around the 2-minute mark from when you started the encounter, the knights will go immune and Dul Incaru will spawn a crystal in the back of the room behind her. You'll need to destroy that crystal before you can damage the knights again. Destroying this crystal also spawns another scion wave, so it's basically like you're starting back from 1, but any damage that you did to the knights pre-crystal will stay there. The 3 knights drop an orb similar to the ones the wizards dropped during the Vorgeth fight, except in this fight, collecting one lets you damage the boss, but collecting all 3 increases the amount of damage you do, so you definitely want to collect all 3. You'll have 45 seconds to damage the boss. If you do not kill her in that damage phase, you need to cleanse yourself in the blue light atop the totem in the center of the room, and you will have to repeat the damage phase as if you were just starting the fight for the first time. The main thing here is to focus the scions so they don't keep spawning. Whittle those knights' health down until it's low enough for you to quickly and carefully kill all 3 of them at the same time and collect the 3 orbs. Then dump your super, special, and heavy ammo into Dul Incaru until she's dead. As I said, if you collect all 3 orbs, the damage buff that you get is very significant. You should not have any problem whatsoever killing Dul Incaru in one phase. And that is going to do it for this video, guys. Hopefully it helped you out. Hopefully you got that solo. I'll have updated guides out for Pit of Heresy and Prophecy in the near future as well. Drop a comment in the box below and let me know which videos you'd like to see, and I will catch you guys in the next video. But if you enjoyed this video, click like. If you're new to the channel, click subscribe. And if you're already subscribed, I fucking love you. Thank you guys so much for watching, and take care.